Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of the Anything Wrestling Podcast. Thank you once again for joining us. We are back today with another episode. We got another triple threat match going on today. It is the Sean to Dan the Man.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is the Commish. I am the advocate, the soul conqueror, and the ruler of this podcast.
Okay.
You just ruined my Psycho Sid impression, really?
That was Psycho Sid?
He doesn't get it, does he? Good lord.
Oh, today's
Just so
episode
it's
brought
out
to you by
there.
Men's Warehouse. Get your big and tall suits at low prices.
And buy Mucinex Fast Max. If you're having a goddamn cold, take a couple shots or 5.
Well, if you're looking for something for a low price and something to help you out on a sick day, you can catch all your favorite WWE programming only on the WWE Network for a non-negotiable but very reasonable price of only $9.99.
$9.99?
It's not $10,
It's not $1,000.
Not $1 million,
but $9.99.
I think that was our best sponsor segment yet. That was really clean.
Yeah.
Yeah, unlike Ronda Rousey's promos.
Jesus.
You have got to not include her every episode.
And
'cause
now it's over.
A moment of bliss, and it's over.
Which, by the way, if anyone saw Raw last Monday night, a few things. One, kind of watchable for once.
Yes.
Kind of.
Yep.
2, some promos and some backstage storylines were kind of to me.
That Brock Lesnar and Braun Strowman segment was just like,
No, I see where they're going with it.
Yeah.
It's all psychological. That's all it is.
yeah, but Braun was, it was so, I felt like it was so
Forced?
off. No, it was off. Like, Braun would say, I'm like, Braun, can you, like, curse or say something to get him to get to the ring already? He's like, you're gonna get destroyed.
We're in a PG era again.
Oh, he's like, Sasha and I said bitch like 6 times last night.
That's different. They're women. They use the word bitch like if it's like, bro.
Listen up, bitch.
I'm not a bitch. I'm the bitch. Bitch, you're a bitch.
Anyway. So, do you want to introduce it or you want me to?
You go ahead, Dan.
Alright, so, today's episode is going to focus on Vince McMahon's big man obsession.
Damn it.
And if you've been following the WWE for, God, forever, you know that Vince McMahon tends to gravitate toward big, muscly, sweaty men as his stars. And so today we're going to discuss some of our favorite big men from WWE history, as well as our thoughts on the future of this big man addiction. So, who wants to kick it off? Well, somebody started. You're fired!
Is that your best Vince?
Look, I need some of that Mucinex, so...
He needs some of that music next, for fuck's sake.
It's a really good throat cleanse, you know? You could just do a Vince McMahon impression.
I could.
It just clears up that shit.
And you need to have like the gray hair and whatever the bags under his eyes are. Like,
I'm halfway there for the bags under, guys. All right, well, I'll start it off. So, just looking back to this past Monday, we got our main event going to Royal Rumble. You got Braun Strowman, you got Brock Lesnar, and
I'm sorry, wait, isn't it Brock Lesnar?
Or
Brock. Jesus.
Lesnar.
I don't think he coughs ever.
So you got two big guys going at it for the title come Royal Rumble. Before this, we had Roman Reigns, and before that, you've seen John Cena and Triple H and the Ultimate Warrior, Hulk Hogan, Undertaker. There's countless names. And it seems, specifically on SmackDown nowadays, you've started to see that kind of breakup.
Yes.
You got the Daniel Bryans and the Mustafa Ali's, the AJ Styleses. You still kind of got like Samoa Joe in there if he counts as a big man, but Yeah, you get a little more variety over there. But throughout the long-standing history of WWE, you've seen these big guys. Who have you guys liked as these titans among men?
Do you want to take this one or me?
Yeah, I think one of my probably the favorites, just because I felt like him being big just helped with the moniker, was Hulkamania.
Hulk Hogan.
Just being that big guy where it's like, especially when I went back and I binge watched all the WrestleManias, it's like you have this guy who's bigger than like life, who's
Literally 6'5",
Yeah.
24-inch pythons.
pythons,
brother.
as he says in all his promos. I think that helps because you can imagine if Hulkamania, spews all this bravado and he's this tiny guy, it's like, okay. Granted, there was steroids and whatnot back in the day, but the Hulkster is still in really good shape. But
Taking his vitamins.
Saying his prayers. It
not-
doesn't get caught.
That doesn't get caught exactly. Because then Stevie Richards happens.
Jesus.
But, there was the Ultimate Warrior as well around that time, but I just felt like Hulk Hogan was a little bit more... What is the word? A little bit more aggression, a little bit more believable. Not that a Warrior wasn't, but I just felt like Hogan had that really good way of like selling a match where like he's getting beat down and all of a sudden there's that test of strength thing where he starts and he's trying to outdo his opponent.
Okay, well, let's look at it this way. You got a guy who's 6'7", literally 24-inch arms full of
is he
muscle.
6'7"?
6'7".
Is he? Oh,
He's 6'7". Fucking 24-inch arms, like just capable of picking up, body slamming, destroying anything in his path.
Andre the Giant.
And then you got someone like the Ultimate Warrior who's 6'2", but he still jacked the hell up. He said he was billed at 280. He was not 280 pounds as the Ultimate Warrior. No, hell no. I would think the Ultimate Warrior is still like in that 300-pound range.
Probably.
But it's all muscle. It's all power. Mm-hmm. So you would think injection power.
It's all juice.
Not orange juice. But you would think anyone that Vince would hire would be like at least anywhere over 6'3", over 300 pounds, but of injected muscle, not like bodybuilding muscle. Unless you're a bodybuilder, but even then, those guys don't look as like capable of moving around in a fucking wrestling ring.
What about you? Who was your favorite big guy?
I can't really base it on them, like of that era, of the golden era of those type of wrestlers. I have to face it of like the 90s era. It was kind of like having guys like The Undertaker or Kevin Nash or even Psycho Sid, but more along the lines it was The Undertaker because he had a guy who was 6'10", 328 pounds. He didn't have to have all the like most defined muscles in the world, but he still had agility for a big guy. He still had strength for a big guy, and like you saw like the best out of the Undertaker when he like moved around the ring. He didn't like defy it as like, oh, I'm big, tall, and I just do like moves that just pummel you down. No, he actually knew with his height how to wrestle you, how to like keep you down. He actually, if you ever watched like old Undertaker matches, he was a technical wrestler as well.
Well, you go back and you look at like the 90s, even up until now, where he does old school, where he's walking across the top rope, or the flying lariat, where when he clotheslines you, he also does like a front flip. Commentators say it and it's so cheesy, but it's like a man of his size is not supposed to be able to do that so easily.
Or like to jump like over the top rope.
There's that too. Yeah.
Or like even if you had someone like Kane who would go up the top rope and like drop himself.
Yeah.
Like what, a missile dive clothesline?
Yeah.
Most of the time, like you're not supposed to see guys like that do that, and to see the Undertaker do that, I always found it amazing. Like seeing Hogan, like don't get me wrong, I'm not saying I'm not a fan of Hulk Hogan's. It's just someone like him, like you just picture, oh, he's just a wrestler inside. He doesn't really want to jump off the top ropes, or if he does, it's always gonna be a botch. He's always gonna like
just a clumsy ass
guy. But when you get guys big like Kane and The Undertaker taking risks like that for someone their size, it is amazing to watch.
You had Kane there for a while doing that jumping clothesline off the top rope as a signature maneuver.
Yeah.
And
Like right before his chokeslam, right?
yeah, and that's a big ass guy coming down at you.
That could be scary.
He was like 6'11",
Something
an
like
inch
that.
taller than the Undertaker.
Yeah.
What about you, Dan? Favorite big guy?
I'm also inclined to say the Undertaker because again, that's kind of a little bit more of my exposure personally. But he also has this storied history. He's been one of the most compelling characters in WWE history. He's put on solid matches. It's not like he's no offense to the Big Show, but I mean, most of Big Show's matches have been kind of because he's kind of in the vein of he's fairly athletic for a dude as big as he is.
Even in the beginnings of his career, he was very athletic.
Yeah.
I know we're talking like after post. What was the faction he was with before the NWO and WCW? Like it was like some kind of like evil Halloween type style group or whatever.
I do not recall.
I forget what it is, but like when you mention like the Big Show, for someone that's 7'2", between 450 to like almost 500 pounds, like he would show agility, he would show wrestling prowess. Granted, it was a lot slower than everybody else,
But he did it.
Yeah.
and it was fucking insane to watch sometimes because you're like, how is this guy able to do all this?
Yeah.
I think that's good pick. I mean, as far as the Undertaker goes, but you can't not give the Big Show credit.
Yeah. And he's been around. He's been around for years. He's done a lot of stuff. He was the first one to beat Lesnar, right? Because
Yeah.
it was the Paul Heyman turn.
Yeah.
So you had Brock Lesnar on this path of destruction as the next big thing. He becomes the champion, and then
Right.
Big Show, Paul Heyman turns on Brock.
Yeah.
Siding with Big Show, and Big Show picks up the win, and you're like, oh shit. So, no, Big Show's a solid pick in this too.
I mean, especially considering over the last 2 years, the guy has been able to give himself a six-pack and just lose all that weight. I mean, I'm personally waiting for one last run of the Big Show. I think he could go on one last, destruction tirade, just going through the roster.
So, okay.
If they stop fucking making him squeeze midgets.
Or turning.
What, not another Big Show turn? That'd be number 32 or 3. You have the Big Show at 7 feet tall. Not 7'2". Like they used to say it, JR used to say it a lot.
Yeah.
He's currently at 383 pounds.
Oh, that's a big shave off.
And then
he's doing a good job.
Kane is actually 7 feet tall at 323. That's like the way he's been able to maintain for like most of his career, 320, 326.
Yeah.
And then you have The Undertaker, who's at 6'10". He used to be billed at 328, but now he's at 309, like currently.
Okay.
But like you see where like Vince took a turn from like guys like Hogan and Savage and Warrior to like even bigger, larger than life guys like this.
Great Khali.
Giant Gonzalez. I had that in the barrel. I was just waiting to release it.
Test.
Prince Albert.
Kind of fit like that mold of what Vince usually liked or loves, supposedly. Because there's always that rumor that like if they're not larger than life athletes, he really doesn't have any invested interest unless they're like the Shawn Michaels, the Bret Harts, who can carry like.
Well, let me ask you about that because I was just
Test
thinking.
was 6'6".
Was he?
It's over 6'5".
I was thinking about this last night. So you started watching in the new generation era, right?
That's 95, 96, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, again, there's that whole thing
But
of...
obviously, I went backwards as well. Like, know
Yeah,
my history.
yeah, of course. I was thinking about this. Everyone says that, oh, you must be a big guy to be the face of the company or to win a championship or to be main event at WrestleMania. I think back to that new generation era, and yeah, Yokozuna was kind of becoming a prominent figure at that time, but you had your Razor Ramones and your Bret Harts and your Shawn Michaels where, bless them, they were, fit and whatnot, but I wouldn't describe them as big guys, per se. When you look back at the Warriors and the Hogans who came before them and, whatnot, it's like, You can't look at those guys and go, oh yeah, they're buff, they're big, they're whatnot. But Vince McMahon gave them the ball and said, here you go. What do we think about that? Because a lot of people think that Vince for a long time would never break that mold. That it was just recently where all these little guys started becoming the poster boy of the company. But you look back at New Generation. Granted, Razor Ramon never won a WWE championship, but call me crazy, I don't even think the guy really needed to. You know who he is, a great Intercontinental Champion, a great performer, who's had great WrestleMania matches. There you go, resume filled.
I think what it is that
Hall's still pretty tall, though, isn't he?
who
Hall?
he's like 6'7", 6'8".
Yeah, he's still tall. He's not like you're saying the jacked build or the Undertaker Big
6'7".
Show type size, but
No, he's 6'7".
yeah.
But like, okay, so to that, like,
But you can point the finger to Sean
And
The
Brett.
Rock and Brett and Austin, who
Yeah.
are still they're not tiny guys.
They're not small, but they're not.
Yeah.
well, I mean, okay, like, I think when you bring up the golden era, like, of that time, after, like, your Warriors, your Savages, and all that, you get,
Dig it.
like, you get, like, the Bret Harts, you get, like, even Lex Luger had, like, one quick title run, and that was it, because Vince just didn't believe in him.
The failed Hulk Hogan, you mean?
Yeah, the 2.0.
Lex
failure.
Express.
Hulk Hogan.
Won by DQ, everyone celebrated.
So you get guys like that, and then they're able to do what they do. And then you also get, like, at one point, he had to mix it up. So he even gave Kevin Nash a WWE run with the belt. Like, it was him and Shawn. Like, Shawn had the Intercontinental. They both had the tag belts. And then, of course, Nash had the World Championship.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, but I still want to give other guys opportunities. So you
Right.
get back to Brett, and then to Shawn. You started seeing it a lot with Austin. I think the mold of, like, super tall but then, like, scrawny short, like, the best mix of it would have to be Triple H. Because Triple H fits a certain, like, regiment of, like, he's not short as hell, but he's also not, like, super tall and humongous. Like, let me see if I can pull up, like,
He's 6'3".
6'4".
Close.
Because when he was Hunter Hearst Helmsley, he was relatively small as kind of a derogatory
Small
term. But
as like muscle
He
mass.
was lean.
yeah, he was
Okay.
lean. Yeah.
Yeah, but he still looked like, okay, maybe you're like 6'5", 6'6" almost.
Yeah.
But then as he started bulking up, becoming the Game,
It
Triple
kind of
H-
looked terrorizing.
Oh man, his first gimmick, God.
Of course, this was established in WCW
Wrestling.
which
But-
you can catch only on the WWE Network for a non-negotiable, very reasonable price of only $9.99.
But you would see like all this like built as how Triple H looked. He didn't fit one mold, but he also didn't fit the other.
Yeah.
Of like whether you're small or you're larger than life. It's like kind of like a perfect middle balance. And I always found that with Triple H, it's like, okay, like this is a guy that, granted, he painted most of his career as a heel.
Yeah.
And he painted himself as like, you know, the most, like, what is it? The cerebral assassin.
The Game,
Yeah, like
King of
he,
Kings.
he
Game.
King of Kings.
especially when The Rock did his impressions.
Big glass of milk.
Like, you would get that, and you're just like, how is this guy able to really represent the WWE? But he did it in his own way, where Vince really trusted in him. Granted, he put himself right there into the family mix by being engaged and married to Stephanie, and then wiggling his way into, like,
That's what happens when you drug her and take her to Las Vegas.
Well, that's the story.
A man named Hunter.
You must have one question on your mind. Dad.
I swear, like,
I hate you.
do you? Do you? But like the guy now owns part of the fucking WWE.
Well, what's so funny is the older Triple H gets, the more fit he is.
Well, it's kind of like Vince. Like back when Vince was just in his announcing days, he was just Vince. He was
What a maneuver.
he seemed like this kind of this guy. Well, to me anyway, he looks like this kind of scrawny guy in a pink suit. And then as
you look at the man in the mirror.
And then time goes on, and did he actually enter bodybuilding competitions, or did he just start building body?
I think he started just building body just because of the fact that it's like, all right, like I'm
gonna stick around with these big dogs.
He had to become one himself.
Yeah.
Like, come on, the guy fucking like he wasn't he on Muscle Fitness or
Yes, he
one
was.
of those magazines
with his big fucking chain.
Biting, what was he biting?
The chain? It was the chain, wasn't it?
Was it?
He just had this thick ass chain over his shoulders.
But, I mean, let's think about it like this. So this is going to be a kind of a big leap, but let's jump into the 2010s because, to some extent I want to incorporate presently what we have. I think that, well, there's another where he's biting something. I don't know what it
That
is.
scary fucking photo.
That is
The one that Shawn Michaels hit him in the head over at the WrestleMania match.
Yeah.
JR's like, yeah, hit him in the head with it and then shove it up his ass. Bless you, JR.
These look like renders from a video game.
But as you're saying,
Pre-order WWE 2K20 to get Vince with the chain.
Jesus.
Chain gang Vince.
As you transition into the 2010s, I mean, John Cena at this point is your poster boy, no doubt. But then right down there, you kind of see this one guy coming about in WWE's version of ECW, who Paul Heyman has become, part of the pun, an advocate for. But Vince McMahon is just having none of it. Paul Heyman tries to get CM Punk to be the essential poster boy of WWE ECW. Doesn't work out. A couple more years go by. Now you have also Daniel Bryan on the side, who's now becoming this big, again, larger-than-life superstar. By the time it's 2013, you got CM Punk and Daniel Bryan essentially being your face of the company. And let's not also forget Randy Orton was kind of still like the veteran who was basically still, on your poster boards and whatnot. Again, not the most bulky guy in the world. But I personally feel like that was a big step of, again, we've talked about this before. Daniel Bryan has been someone who was not going to be given that chance just because, he's not 6 foot, 6
He's
foot
not
one.
over 6'3" or whatever.
Yeah, he's not 300 pounds, but finally now, I mean, the guy right now is, again, Dan, you were talking about this, where Brock Lesnar was undefeated. Jump to 2017 where AJ Styles won the championship, held it for a very long time. Who takes it off of him? Daniel Bryan, and AJ Styles is another one, who I think Vince is very, keen on, a guy who's been up here ever since his debut and has not been a guy who's been, been dropped down the card. So I would say that the little men are essentially taking over this moniker of you got to be 6'1" and you got to be 300 pounds.
Well,
I think.
okay.
Go ahead.
No.
I was just gonna say. I think Vince's viewpoint is kind of shifting, where he started to understand that your audience isn't all big burly men. You got some smaller people. You've got women. You've got people that want to look up to other fields of people. So yeah, you can have your bigger guys over on Raw, your Drews, Brocks, Roman, Braun, and then over on SmackDown you can have the smaller guys, and then you have the women. You've got the Rondas, you've got the Beckys, the Charlottes. So that you've got someone everybody of every body type and gender identity can look up to.
Yes.
Well, this is what I'm gonna say. Like you have like these, like starting in 2010, like with your R-Truths, your CM Punks, like these are guys now like 6'2" or 6 feet. You even got Daniel Bryan, and I'll even say it with him, Mustafa Ali. They're both 5'10". Daniel Bryan's our current WWE World Champion. You have Seth Rollins, who's at 6'1".
He's another one.
Like you have guys now that they're not larger than life. They're kind of going back to like that era and phase of like, all right, you carry yourself at the height you're at, but you are larger than life.
Yeah.
You are having that attitude where it's like, you can be the face of our company. Like, especially with right now, what I think is happening. I'm calling it now. I think your boy, Soccer Rollins, I think he's going to be the one to win this year's Royal Rumble.
Big candidate.
Because he's really they're pushing him so much right now. What, he was in a 6-man tag last night, and then he was in an IC match at the end of the night almost.
That segment with Triple H where he just smacks the coffee right out of his hand.
You're seeing guys like this, like they're being built up again as like you said, like kind of a realism thing where it's like you have fans that look up to these guys, and it's like, oh, there's the possibility for me to even make something of myself if this guy can do it, or if Daniel Bryan or CM Punk or Mustafa Ali or guys around that build can do it. Because, I mean, you have like your Brock Lesnar's, your Roman Reigns, guys that are still a little bit like football-sized athletes.
Yeah.
But
with 2 moves.
2-3 moves. But they're at least like, okay, we're not giving you the ball anymore. We're transcending it to someone who's more realistic and more realism. Even with the women, like, you have females that are competitors at least like 5'5", or like 5 feet to almost like 5'10", because I think Charlotte's the tallest woman in WWE overall.
Probably.
Yeah, but then you got like Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks and Bayley and all these other girls that are like between 5 feet to like 5'6" at the biggest. And it's like, okay, you don't have to be larger than life, but if you can carry your personality that way, then you are becoming something that is larger than life.
Well, I also think the game plan has also changed, because back in New Generation and Hulkamania era, you could do 5 generic moves and you're fine. But now you have springboard attacks. Now you have top rope attacks. Now you have, we're going to flip outside the ring and we're going to, ricochet off the announce table.
At a minimum of 20 miles an hour. Jesus.
But it's like, I think that's why, like, when I was binge watching WrestleMania, some matches I'm like, okay, let's go. Come on. Oh, the match is over.
Like, you're not used to, like, how slow and technical
it took me a second to appreciate. And once I got into WrestleMania 6, 7, 8, I'm like, okay, I can appreciate it.
Yeah, you're seeing them work the angles and work, like, to their ability at that time. Like, when you saw something crazy they would do, that was the shock factor back then. Now, as you transcended past the Attitude Era and ruthless aggression, it gets turned up a lot, but it's
keep moving.
It's not as violent, but it's still like fast paced, nonstop, and it's like nowadays one finishing move is not enough anymore.
That's 5 at 5.
That's another thing too. Yeah.
Well, not even with like Brock and Roman. I would say like what a typical we'll say AJ versus Seth, AJ Styles versus Seth Rollins.
Yeah, one curb stomp is not going to put that match.
You're probably looking minimum of 2.
Yeah.
Well, okay, look, okay. Name all of Sean. Name all of AJ's finishers. Just finishers.
Styles Clash, Phenomenal Forearm, Calf Crusher, if that's a signature.
Okay, now Dan, name all of Seth's finishers.
Curb stomp, pedigree, ripcord knee, super kick.
So you have more than one in your repertoire as a current WWE wrestler. Or, I'm sorry, superstar.
Versus Triple H, who had the pedigree. Austin, Stunner.
Shawn Michaels, Sweet Chin Music.
Which no one uses, by the way.
Leg drop.
Like, you see that back then, it only took the one. And it had its impact. Now, with these athletes, it's like, oh, AJ hit him with the phenomenal forearm.
He said it.
Kick out. Oh, he hit him with the Styles Clash. Kick out. Oh, he hit him with, give me another one. One of his moves.
The 450.
And he's finally done. What did I say? What are you shunning about now?
He said it.
What did I say?
You said the one.
What? The one in 21 and 1?
That had nothing to do with it. Oh, you're just being pretentious now. Calm down. Okay, Sean's in his feelings right now because he thinks I mentioned The Undertaker's undefeated streak. Good Lord.
It's okay. We'll keep moving. But no, like, going back to the inspired by people of different body types and growing away from the big man mold. When I was a kid, so you guys can still look at me.
Okay.
And see that I do not have a lot of muscle on me.
Join the club.
And so growing up, when I was watching, my favorite superstar was The Rock. Slender guy, quick, agile, and he's the reason that I wanted to be a professional wrestler for a minute. I was like, I want to do this. This would be so much fun.
So would you say that you would do it for The Rock?
Yeah, 100%.
So you also say you were implying that if you're given the opportunity, you would do it for the people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Shut your mouth, you don't worry.
But anyway, so yeah, I think that your smaller performers are essential to connect with fan bases like me, where I will never have the mass of a Roman Reigns or a Brock Lesnar or a Ultimate Warrior, and so it keeps me engaged. It keeps me inspired because seeing the Rock pick up a win over the Undertaker, you go, fuck yeah, Rock. So that's just my thought process on that.
What did you think of the 2010s when the smaller guys were kind of coming down the pike and you saw this small little shift where roughly in 2013 your CM Punks and your Daniel Bryans and your R-Truths and your John Morrisons were becoming a very essential part of the show?
I liked it, and I think it's because it was necessary for the growth of the industry.
Yeah.
Because, like you said, you used to have the guys who the matches were all of 15 moves.
Yeah.
And then you had these guys who were getting more athletic. They were more nimble, more flexible. They had learned various martial arts, all of that sort of shit. And so then they come into the ring and they've got more to bring to the table, more variety. And so that's where you're seeing the longer matches, the faster paced yet still technical matches. You got the people with multiple finishing moves. Yeah. Even CM Punk, GTS, and
Anaconda Vice.
And the Anaconda Vice.
Anaconda.
My Anaconda don't.
Yeah, bring up that fucking song. Good Lord.
Because CM got back. Anyway.
I hate you so much right now.
So, no, I thought it was good. I thought it was a necessary change of pace, and I thought that it was, no pun intended, the injection that WWE needed in order to keep fresh and keep gaining new fans.
Well, where there's the good, there's the bad. So you said some of our favorites that we like, some of our favorite big men that we like. Now let's jump to the counterpart of that. Are some big men that were either shoved down our throats or we just don't want anything to do with.
Do you just want to say it? I feel like you want to jab me with it because I jabbed you about something I wasn't intentionally jabbing you.
What?
You went to the guys. You're going to the ones we don't like. Just get him out of the chamber already.
Giant Gonzalez?
Yes, for fuck's sake.
Dan?
Why was Giant Gonzalez even a thing? And why are you wearing that bodysuit? And why are you fighting The Undertaker at WrestleMania?
Keep going.
And why didn't you shave your beard? It looks stupid.
Because he was stupid.
Well, I mean... Okay, so I know you guys are probably not the biggest fan of her right now, but I personally feel like Nia Jax could have been... Easy. Could have been something very salvageable. Like that, just that person who doesn't really speak on the mic too much, just comes out and just throws shit around. But the way that they booked her, it's like, not only do you not buy it, but you actually sometimes even wind up laughing because you're like, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
Okay. You want me to mention something funny? All her fucking promo last night.
Oh hell yeah! I was watching. I'm the
bitch. I'm the bitch. Not about a bitch. No.
I was watching that segment with someone else, and they looked and said, Does she just annoy you? Like, does she seem like she doesn't know what she's doing?
Yes.
Did this person know the backstory of everything that's gone on?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I was watching that segment. I was like, Jesus, just shut the fuck up. Go take an acting class. They made Roman take an acting class. Why aren't they doing it to you? Her delivery is just horrendous, and I don't want to listen to her when she talks.
I'm not ready.
I'm
not ready.
And I don't.
I thought
the other
the
thing.
stool was gonna break.
She'll repeat the bullshit over and over again. Like, and I hate that face when she's like looking up into the sky,
Yeah.
and it's like,
Or when she yells into the microphone.
Yeah.
It's like,
You mean when she's talking normal, and then all of a sudden she sounds like that?
yep, exactly like that. That was perfect.
okay, now we're even.
Again, I didn't know I mentioned the Undertaker shit. I really don't remember.
Some of us are sensitive. Okay.
Some,
Anyway, so I'll go and say,
Okay.
all of us.
Okay.
Calm down, I
I'll
said
say
all of
the Great Khali, probably one of my least favorites overall. I'm glad he brought me the Punjabi prison match because I fucking love that match.
That makes one of us.
You don't like that much?
It's so weird, but I love it.
Exactly. It's just so weird.
What is a cage within a cage?
Yeah, and,
With an open cage.
and every chamber closes every
60 seconds? And you have a minute to go through the door, and then if all 4 doors close, you got to climb over cage
That's
1 and then
so
climb over cage 2.
weird.
It is weird,
It's
but it's
fucking insane.
it's fun. It's a weird thing to look at, and it's awesome.
If I had a nickel for every time I heard that, I would have a nickel.
Ew. So.
Okay, so-
my one beef with the I'm going off.
Here
off on a
we go.
tangent. My one beef with the Punjabi prison match is the fact that you can't have unless weird shit goes down. You can't have it without an Indian star.
Yeah, that's
It's
true.
only been with Indian stars, except the one where Khali got taken out,
Right.
And it was Undertaker and Big Show.
Yep.
That's just odd.
It was weird. So I mean, like, if we could rebrand it as something else, but still have that match, so that you can actually use it a little more often, that'd be cool. But anyway, so Great Khali, slow, lumbering, didn't really bring much to the table. I believed that really anybody could beat him because of how slow he was. Like, all you had to do was like sneak behind, like run. And you could get behind him and just kick him in the back of the leg before he would be able to turn around. It's like a video game boss. Where you're like, oh, okay, so the whole system here is I roll out of the way and I run behind you, I hit you in the leg, and then you fall down and I kill you. Okay.
Chopping down a tree, as they say.
Exactly. I felt like he was a very stationary tree.
You can do that with him. Undertaker practically did it with Giant Gonzalez in the worst WrestleMania match in history.
Which you can catch only on the WWE Network for a non-negotiable variable price of only $9.99. Speaking of nines,
Although, why would you? Why would you seek that out? Go ahead.
Dan, that's not the way to ask the question.
Why would you seek out that match?
Or that.
Or that, yeah,
That
exactly.
WrestleMania? What?
That whole WrestleMania was horrible.
Go ahead. You were going to say
Hulkamania
something
wins
else.
at the end, so everyone should be happy, right?
Oh God! So you have like the Great Khali. You had Giant Gonzalez. We just mentioned her because I guess she's the biggest athlete in the women's division right now.
Is she an athlete?
No, she's just a bitch.
Okay.
I'm sorry, she's not just a bitch. She's the bitch. No, you're a bitch. You also had like Psycho Sid kind of falls into that category.
I was gonna say.
The reason why is because it seemed like Vince gave him so many opportunities, but he always seems to fuck him up.
Got half the brain.
Many that you do. Yeah, there it is.
His promos were bad.
I gotta start it over again.
No, we're live, buddy.
Thank you.
Everything about him, like, is great as an athlete, bad as just everything else. Because, yeah, he went off on psychotic tangents where you're just like, do you need to calm down? Can you break it down a little bit?
Break it down.
A lot. But it seems like
Is that the DX theme song on a sitar?
it is.
It's the XM on a satire.
You're
Anyway.
a bad satire. Moving forward, Vince would always have bad signings when it came to big athletes. And he's one. I think Jinder Mahal kind of falls into that right now. He's not very fond of it.
There is so much wrong with that.
Shanti.
Take the eye out.
Take everybody around his camp out. Just leave Jinder all by himself at this point. But
What about the Rusevs of the world, who are just getting a well-deserved?
we're
push?
talking about bad. We can't go back to good again.
Well, no, I mean giants who should have been booked good, but haven't been booked
Yeah, I
good.
think he's talking about bad execution.
Yeah.
Up to this
Okay,
point.
so there's that. All right, fine.
Yeah, you
Rusev's
got
a
some
big
misfires.
example. Drew McIntyre was at first.
Yeah, the original Drew
11.
McIntyre. He wasn't
He
as
wasn't as
big,
big,
as he is
exactly.
now. He's still a tall ass some bitch, but
When you go on SmackDown Live and say he's the chosen one, I personally signed him. That's Vince on TV, glorifying himself like he usually does. That I did this, I want this, I created this. Why the fuck did it take until 2018 for him to finally do
Dan,
something?
why did it take so long? I would like to see, because I think it'd be fucking funny. I'd like to see Vince come out after Drew wins the world title.
I
Like,
told you so.
10 years later.
Your signings are bad and you should feel bad.
Well, what's so funny
That'd
about
be fucking funny.
about Drew?
Comes out with the belt too, like personally
Presenting
made
it
for
to him.
Drew.
The funny part is that I never knew how big Drew was, and I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Where there was a segment where there's a close up of Braun, who's, let's say he's right here, and then
And
Drew
Drew
just
steps
comes in, and
Yeah.
he's right there. I'm like,
eye
holy
level.
shit!
Yeah, because even back during 3MB, like, how tall is Heath?
Heath Slater.
Yeah, because I think
More importantly, how many
Jinder's
kids does he
kind
have?
of Jinder's kind of
He's got
tall
kids.
too, but he's 6'2", and what was Jinder? Jinder was
With 3 kids. It sounds literally how many kids he has.
I got kids. Jinder Mahal is 6'5".
6'5".
So yeah, you had all three of these guys. Heath being the smallest, but like they're all in that same wheelhouse.
Yeah,
Oh, Drew's 6'5" too.
is he?
Yeah.
And so they're
How big is how tall is Strowman?
I'll look that up right now.
9? Is he 6'9"?
6'8".
6'8".
Okay. Fuck though,
Okay.
like
Yeah, so I mean, you've got all these guys sort of in this same wheelhouse, and like, but you saw Heath,
Yeah.
and you saw Jinder back in the day, and you saw Drew, and you're like, oh, look at these guys, they're little guys,
Yeah,
because they were never really like juxtaposed against
Yeah.
anything else.
Yeah.
But now you have Drew that you're juxtaposing against Braun, and you go, some bitch. So it's funny, especially with the extra mass that he's put on.
yeah.
Because I think there's also that disconnect where if you've got a tall guy, but he's real string beanie, he seems shorter.
Yeah.
here's one. Baron Corbin. That's a worse signing of a big guy. He's fucking 6'8".
I
and
mean,
does
call me
shit with his
crazy,
career.
but I feel like when he lost his hair, he was more relevant than ever.
Call me crazy. How the fuck are you in the NFL on practice squads and have to throw hands at people just to get kicked out? Oh wait, you're Baron Corbin.
Fucking
Or you're
attitude
Thomas
problem.
Pestock.
No wonder he's going by Baron Corbin.
Because that is a shitty name.
Uh,
But you're 6'8".
It's a sh-
You would think you could do something with that.
now,
Come on.
I'm gonna just put this out there so that people are on the same page with us. I don't hate.
Sorry.
God damn it.
Sorry.
I don't think any of us dislike Baron Corbin for. Well, let me finish the goddamn sentence.
That's what I'm waiting for.
I don't think we hate Baron Corbin for the general manager stint that he had per se. I think we just don't like him in general because he's sort of bland and
He's a tool.
yeah. Like we aren't blind to where we're like, well, it's Baron Corbin's fault. Raw was awful. No. That's WWE
That's their
management's
cover
fault.
up. Yeah.
But no, Baron in general is just kind of eh. I was never high on him. I had been saying before he shaved the hair off, I'm like, just shave the fucking hair off. Your hairline's already to the back of your head, dude. Just do it.
The man has a 5 head.
The man has a family.
No, he
He's got a 6'5" head.
Yeah, he does.
He's 6'8" though. So
The point of it being is that
He just sucks. And
yes, he absolutely sucks. When you get a guy,
I do like his finisher though. I always like the end of days.
when you get a guy like
six.
Elias who's 6 feet,
Well, Wade
he
Barrett
almost
did the
stands
deep
toe
six,
to
too.
toe with him almost.
Didn't he? Which one's the deep six? Is that a backdrop or is that a swing?
It's
body
the
thing?
swing by backdrop, yeah. Like John Cena's backdrop,
Oh, the
but
spin
it's
out
like,
power
but
bomb?
you spin
Oh,
it.
yeah. Never mind. Wade Barrett didn't do that one. Go ahead.
There is another one.
There's
that's
no,
gone
actually,
bad.
very good
I
point.
miss Wade Barrett.
There is another one.
King Barrett,
I'm afraid I've got some bad news.
bad news Barrett,
Barrett Burr.
the Lord.
Stu, I miss you, man.
We all miss you.
Cousin Stu.
Okay, so he was
His
never
last name is
really
Bennett,
one.
I think.
It
Stu
is.
Bennett.
He was never really one of my
Oh, shit,
favorites,
now
but
people know my last name.
Stewart Alexander Bennett, 6'7". Good lord. He was never really one of my favorites. Like maybe in the beginning with this whole NXT Nexus shit, but he grew on me, and he was always someone that I thought had a lot to show for, had a lot to offer. But
Always evolved. Always.
He was good. He was good in Nexus. Core was. King Barrett was okay. Bad News Barrett.
Barrett
Oh,
Barrage.
perfect.
A1. I loved Wade at the end. Well, except for the fuck was it? The what was their stable? The international people?
League of Nations?
League of Nations. That was legitimately just a dump zone for stars you didn't have anything else for.
Exactly.
Rusev, Sheamus, Wade, and
Alberto Del
El Patron, De Patron,
Paige's
and
former
Trapone.
boyfriend.
And Trapone. Now I'm just saying more syllables.
What do we think of Ryback?
could have been utilized a lot better. He fit the mold Vince always wanted.
Yeah.
I think so.
What about you, Dan?
I wasn't inspired by Ryback myself. He was okay. I thought during his when he was introduced, I think he was a good play.
Here's the thing: Ryback's 6'3". He's 291 pounds, all muscle.
Yeah,
And
and
the whole feed me more gimmick. Okay, I get it.
It caught on. Everyone
It
was
did.
chanting it.
Well, not just because it made him like a good face, but like when he was a heel with the Nexus, like that's supposed to be your brute power, your muscle, your dominant like player. If fucking Wade Barrett can't get it, you would have Ryback right there to just like go in and destroy.
Okay, let's get it out there.
What?
Let's
What
put
did I
this.
fucking trigger now?
No.
I feel like I'm just triggering him today.
No, I'm genuinely I'm trying to be serious here for a minute. Yes. Was Ryback WWE's response to Goldberg?
I'm gonna say no.
Why?
She had Gilbert. The man they call Gilbert. If I could take a quick survey.
Hey
yo.
Oh, that was off.
I personally think he may have been the response to Goldberg. Little too late for it though.
yeah,
Because at one point we don't have a WCW anymore. Ring of Honor doesn't have someone that could reflect a Goldberg. Neither did Impact or TNA Impact, whatever the fuck they were back then.
They were hiring.
They're still hiring. And they only have like 27 people in their audience lately.
But I heard someone say this one time. They're like, we compare Goldberg to Ryback because they look alike. And I'm not just talking about the shape and the muscular body, but like appearance, like face-wise.
I don't really see
And
that.
I don't see that at all.
Ryback has like these big crazy eyes.
His muscles
He's
have
got his-
muscles.
He's got his wonky teeth. No offense. I mean, I'm not one to speak, but no, I don't think they look alike. But I think Ryback was a good addition at the time that they were ultimately trying to push him, because you had Punk and you had Cena, and they were all in a similar height range.
Yeah.
Apparently, because Ryback was 6'3", John is 6'1". I don't know what Punk is, but he's not a tall guy. I just think he lacked the necessary charisma to actually get over permanently. And apparently, what was it? He rubbed some people backstage the wrong way, didn't he?
Was that it?
Why did he leave? Do you know?
Well, yeah, because he was. This is very ridiculous, and I don't agree by it. But he was requesting that everyone gets paid the same. So if you're like the main guy of the company, or if you're a jobber,
Oh, so he's a communist.
Yeah, pretty much.
which I mean, it's like that's very ridiculous. That's not gonna happen.
You're not gonna pay the fucking gobbledygooker the same amount as you're gonna pay The Rock.
You should pay him more.
Exactly. We all know this. No, I'm just kidding. But that's stupid. It's like, how are you gonna have the main event guy and then like your preliminary match guy
Yeah.
equally make the same fucking amount of money with less and more time split in between?
On one side, I get it. It was probably sort of...
He was also frustrated because this was around the time when the Adam Roses came out, and well, whoever else left at that time. But a lot of people, Cody Rhodes left at that time, so a lot of people were just frustrated with the company and just split ways.
Yeah, but okay, he still wrestles independent.
Yeah. I get it. I think it was probably sort of a trying to use his platform, because now he's sort of at the top of the card, trying to use his platform to help his buddies out.
Yeah.
Like, well, this is what we dealt with for a while, da 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 da. But yeah, you can't just be like, well, John Cena, who's going on every talk show across the entire country, in between actual shows, should be should be the same pay grade as the Adam Roses, who don't show up on TV a couple of weeks and then show up, do their parade, get jobbed out, and then go backstage.
Yeah.
I get it. You still are. Maybe they deserve to be paid more.
Does
I don't
Rock think he's John Cena?
Yes.
Does he?
I
Think
believe
he's
he
The
did.
Rock?
Yes.
It's one of those things where you get pushed to superstardom, but then it just probably comes way too quick, and you kind of just get wrapped up in it.
Yeah, I think it went to his head. He thought he was a bigger star than he really was. But
Okay.
Yeah. Okay,
Hey.
chill out, Naya.
He could have been something. Okay. Hey, I like Ryback.
Okay.
Leave me alone.
I'm not saying he was bad. I'm just saying he wasn't as hot as he thought he was.
He wasn't the hot shit he thinks he is. He's hot shit.
But
Not the hot shit. I don't know where I was going with
You
that.
are not gonna let it go, are you?
but
okay.
The whole no, I'm not a bitch. I'm the bitch.
No, that had nothing to do with
Oh, I
it.
thought you were playing off of that.
No.
I don't know what's going on.
I
But
lost all track of this show.
But yeah, to expect that your buddies who, like, okay, that's what I was saying. Maybe they deserve to be paid a little bit more, because yeah, you're on the road driving from
Yes.
city to city
Yeah.
versus your Vince McMahon's, your Triple H's, your Stephanie's, who are on a goddamn jet and they're there in an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And then you've got to drive fucking 14 hours to get to the next city. That's fucking tiresome. That's hard on your body to just be in that seated position in a car for. I did a road trip over a week, and that was bad enough. I couldn't imagine doing that every single day.
Yeah, but sometimes some of these guys,
They got tour buses.
or they
Yeah.
would get.
I don't think they all do. Like, you've seen Ride Along, and I know that that's to an extent probably staged,
Yeah.
but you've heard the stories of New Day riding in a car together.
Well, even when you hear stories from like
Other tag teams.
the other guys on Table for Three, they would say most of the time they were on the road.
Yeah.
And that wasn't like a figure of speech. It was a literal, we're on the road, driving for 8-10 hours a day.
Or when they're like, you would wrestle in the morning and you would have to drive like 5 hours to this
To the
other
next
place,
show,
get
and
your
then
gear on. You would
Do
wrestle
it
twice
and
a
get back
day.
in the
Yeah.
car. And so, yeah, and I don't know everybody's pay grade, but maybe they should be paid more, but they shouldn't all be at John Cena's level.
Yeah.
And I don't think you should necessarily dock John Cena either. John does a lot of shit for that company.
He just needs to do something about his goddamn hair.
Just put some fucking gel in it, man.
Stop looking like JBL. For fuck's sake.
We get caught up on some things during this
Yes,
show.
they do.
Okay, name one big guy that you think could have or should have been booked a little better. I will mention one right now. Goldberg.
Well, there was the
The dude
comebacks.
was 173-1
Well, I mean,
in WCW
wrestling.
But like when he came to the WWE, it's like, okay, we took so long with your contract. You only stayed around for like, what was it? A year.
A year.
And then you come back for 2.
Well,
you could have done so much. Like, honestly, they could have done a lot with Goldberg.
My counter argument to that is his comeback story, which I think was perfect. I wouldn't tweak a thing.
What,
yeah,
the second run?
The second run, yeah, not the one in 03-04. The second one in 16-17. Because, again, we were talking about this. You have Brock Lesnar, someone who broke the streak and, defeated John Cena.
I didn't mention it this time.
Well,
I didn't mention it
I had
at all.
to mention it, but I had to hesitate. So you have Brock Lesnar, who's just on this conquest of just kicking everyone's ass, and you're like, who can stop this guy? And they do it in the most unbelievable fashion. It's like a WWE 2K19 match gone wrong.
Yeah.
3 finishers and he's done.
3 spears and 1 jackknife.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the old know your role game where you could load yourself up with 5 finishers, go into the match, and then just beat the shit out of them.
So,
but he's mine. He's my choice just because it's like he was probably one of the biggest guys for 6'4".
Yeah.
Almost 300 pounds. But it's like he is an unstoppable force. He made it look that way in his comeback against Brock. Granted, for his age too.
he looked really good for his age.
The guy's like 52 right now.
Jesus.
Wait a minute, guys. Shane McMahon looks the same. Have you seen him without a shirt on? He looks exactly like Goldberg. It's weird.
He's best in the world, isn't he?
Hell yeah.
Apparently.
What about you, Dan? One guy who you felt like was not booked.
Should have been booked, but wasn't.
I'll go with Mark Henry.
That's another one.
I think Mark Henry had
He deserved a lot
more potential than he did. I mean, he broke away from sexual chocolate. I wonder where that hand is now. Do you think he's the CEO of a company?
Probably.
He's so grown up.
I will tell you this. I think in any given scenario,
Hands down, he is.
in any given scenario, he's probably got the upper hand.
All right. So I think Mark Henry, after all of that, did a good job of breaking away from that and distancing himself from the comedy
That
gimmick.
Hall of Pain stuff. Ooh,
Yeah.
great stuff.
I just don't think he was utilized the way that he probably should have been or could have been to truly be effective. Because he was world heavyweight champion for a minute. Was he ECW champion for a minute?
Yes, he was. No one really counts that.
Well, yeah, but he could have been more. Like honestly, he probably, given the timeline, if we were up to that point, he probably should have been your first black WWE champion.
Yeah.
And they didn't do it.
Yeah.
And so, who do we have now that could be that? You got Apollo. You've got
Bobby Lashley.
I would love to see Apollo Crews. You know what? We'll give Bobby Lashley the world championship first.
But please do not do that pose.
No, I think they're at one point they're gonna break away from that stupid. This heel side of him is gonna break away.
Did they do the butt pose on Monday?
I don't think they did. No.
Maybe they fucking learned.
No,
we'll see.
Lashley was all heel last night, and I actually liked it. Like,
Yeah.
That's what you
gimmick.
need to see.
When he was hurling Seth around, goddamn.
I was just like, holy shit, he's gonna kill Seth tonight. All right, who's your choice of who could have been utilized better, but was still like in a good standing?
Bobby. Go ahead.
I gotta go with the guy that we just got done talking about is Ryback. Because I kind of look on a timeline, I'm like, in 2013, who was essentially, who was filling in your shoes of like, again, the big guy?
Who better than Canyon?
Austin.
Van Dam.
Because it's like...
Anybody.
Fucking elbow popped. Go ahead.
It's like you think about it, yeah, Mark Henry for a second in 2011, 2012 was big, but then that kind of got swept under the rug. So it's like, where is your next big guy? Strowman wasn't there yet.
Yeah.
Big Show was probably in the middle of one of
He
his
was
turns
the
again.
big
He was
slow.
on turn 17 or 18.
Yeah,
or
and
something.
Kane was too busy telling John Cena to embrace the hate.
And then being buried.
Yeah, Undertaker was one-timing a year at this point, so it's like, I think if Ryback... I think he was also a victim of circumstance because Cena gets injured, they're like, we need someone to substitute. Okay, go, Ryback. I get it, not the most exciting wrestler in the world, but I believe that if you just took time to build the guy up...
Look, if the guy wasn't such a goddamn commie, he would still be in the WWE right now. He'd be in a Fatal 4-Way with Braun Strowman, Brock Lesnar,
Yeah.
Ryback, and himself, and...
I think if WWE spent less
Drew.
time having their stars, if they followed more the rules of improv, yes, and as opposed to explicitly having stars poke fun at the shortcomings of the other stars, I think we would have more stars in a better position. Because I think, if I recall correctly, I think CM Punk took some jabs at Ryback's shortcomings as a professional wrestler, as opposed to making it like a storyline related thing, like,
Yeah.
oh, well, you're dumb. So I feel like that could have hurt Ryback's credibility a little bit and kept him from getting over. And we've seen that a couple of times in the past. I think even with, and I know why they did it, the Cena and Roman promo battles that they had. They were trying to get Roman to be better, push him to be better. But it also made the audience sit there go, God, Cena's a lot better than him. So it kind of
It came down to what it came down to.
Yeah.
He's unfortunately a victim of circumstance.
yeah, they should have been using live events to get Roman better at promos
Yeah.
instead of doing that on Raw, because then that's your big fucking program, and everyone's sitting there going, huh.
This guy sucks.
But anyway, somebody was going to say something, and I stole the spotlight.
I've said what I
No,
need to say.
but I've said what I have to say too.
I mean, also, I think the in-depth scripted programming is what kind of kills the career of a lot of these big men.
Yeah.
Because I've said it before, I think a lot of people are better off just not having a microphone.
Yeah.
Like what Strowman did yesterday, where he grabs the mic, he's like, screw this shit, rips off his shirt, he's like, get your ass over here. I'm like, yes, do that more. Instead of 10 minutes of, I'm going to beat you. I'm going to crush you. You're going to be the reason why I beat you this Sunday.
You're going to be the reason I beat you this Sunday.
What does that mean? What does it mean?
Nobody knows. But, all right, well, final thoughts then, I guess I'll ask, is do you think we'll ever go back to the days of Titans Among Men, or do you think we're pretty well established, pretty well established in this time period of mixed company?
I don't think you can, especially when you have 205 Live as its own thing, and you have NXT where it's the developmental, and you have these smaller guys who are coming in making an impression. I think it's going to be really hard to go back to that. Yes, you can have somewhere on the card like your Match of the Titans where you have a Big Show versus a Braun Strowman and whatnot, and that's fine. But to center it around that and say, yeah, we're going back to the old days of, where it's bigger guys, you're diminishing a lot of these wrestlers who are talented. Look at what Cody's doing right now with his star power, with, his wrestling style, with his skill, with his, I think you said his swagger last time. Just seeing Cody come into a room, it's like, oh shit, this guy's making stuff happen. So I doubt it. I don't think so.
And I was going to say, especially with all the guys out on the indie circuit, if you start picking these guys back up, you've got Cody, you've got Kenny. These guys are not giant guys. Yeah. So yeah, I think we're pretty well strapped down here.
Oh.
I suppose WWE could shift direction with the titles at some point, and they could go to sort of a weight class system like UFC has, and then you could have your heavyweight title and your light heavyweight title and your cruiserweight title and your super heavyweight title, whatever the hell.
Yeah.
You could change the system.
Yeah.
And then that would justify having those different things where then it's, oh, okay, only big guys fight for this one. Only these guys. So we'll see. I don't know if they're going to do that. I think they're pretty happy with their current system right now.
Well, when you got a Universal Champion who's not even on TV, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. They're weird. Anyway, Commish.
I think that everything right now is just shifting in a new direction.
Yeah.
And not to say that that's a bad thing, because change is always a good thing if it's utilized correctly. My thing is, I would like to see that, like a weight class division up. Because, okay, you have Raw on Monday, you have SmackDown on Tuesday, you have 205 Live, you have fucking NXT UK all on Wednesday. And it seems like that is just a shitload of talent. You have one show specifically dedicated to cruiserweights, and then you have two shows dedicated to up-and-comers, either of the American standpoint or the European standpoint. I'm pretty sure if Triple H can convince Vince in some kind of fucking way, there's going to be NXT Asia or NXT Japan.
You got enough people.
Because right now, it seems like WWE is really focusing on fucking, what do you call it? I totally forgot he was there. They're focusing on New Japan.
Yeah.
Because they're seeing all these American wrestlers compete in New Japan Pro Wrestling. And it's like, okay, what is it that New Japan attracts these guys? And the WWE had a contract way back in the day in the 80s with New Japan to have cross-promotional events. And it's like, okay, Japanese and Asian wrestlers are doing a lot. Look at Asuka. Look at Kairi Sane. They're all coming up. And it's like
Kairi is so cute.
Yes, she is.
Lovable pirate. Yes, she is.
Io Shirai as well.
Yeah, like you're getting all this talent, and it's like, we can't just have like one set of like belts.
Yeah.
And have like a super heavyweight versus like freaking someone who's like a $150.
Yeah.
Oh, the $150 guy's now the world heavyweight champion. No, it's getting to that point where UFC got where it's like we can't have a super huge guy and a little guy compete for a championship and the little guy just gets beat to oblivion. I think developing weight classes amongst all your talent would utilize belts even better. You get to see championships you never thought you'd ever see again.
Because you could still treat what's currently the WWE Championship as sort of your secondary weight class, but still give it that same level of importance that it has over on SmackDown. But it's almost kind of like what they're doing anyway. It's just confusing to have the Universal Champion, the WWE Champion, but these are both supposed to be the same, right?
Yeah, because it wasn't. Back in the day, it used to be that it was like you had the World Heavyweight Championship and the WWE Championship, but they all were within the same type of like prestige. It's like, it doesn't matter who it is.
Yeah.
Now it's like, well, it looks like a Universal Championship only belongs to a big guy.
Yeah.
Oh, the World Heavyweight Championship only belongs to a guy like AJ or Daniel Bryan or blah, blah, blah. Like you can, if you move Samoa Joe into that division of the Universal Championship where it's just for strict big heavyweight guys, that would make sense to me.
Yeah.
That's just an example, and I'm not saying that there should be a push for Samoa Joe this year, maybe next. But you get where I'm going with it. That's what I think I would like to see. Like, touching upon both of your guys' idea.
Well,
that's my final say on this.
Cool.
So there you go, guys. We just discussed, big man that we are fond of and some that we are not so fond of. If we feel like WWE will ever resort back to the era of just big men, taking up the spotlight. So let us know what you guys think in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you all next time.